SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21.
Welcome in. Good morning. Good Monday morning, April 13th, 2026. Thanks for joining us. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank. Glad to be with you as we roll into a new week, closing in on the midway point of the month of April. Man, it goes fast. It goes fast in the spring, just 1 week after another. Boom, 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 flip the calendar, and we're into the summer break. We don't have to rush it. We can enjoy it along the way. Love to hear from you. C Spire text line is open this morning, 601-879-4395. Excuse me, 601-879-4395. So much happening at C Spire, so much happening everywhere you turn. Might as well save some money. Right now at C Spire, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet, plus 100 gigs of data for just $90. There's more to see. Visit cspire.com today. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lance.
Good morning, RC. You had a busy weekend.
Had a busy weekend, but it was a good weekend.
Like fun times.
Yeah. We hosted a senior party at our house yesterday, and I think a good time was had by all. I completely missed it.
You completely missed it. Well, you were working.
I was not there. I helped in the preparation, but party itself, not so much. Spent a lot of time at the ball yard this weekend, and we'll get into the weekend of baseball coming up in a little while. But yeah, man. I sure do love this like low 80s and sunshine. I'm starting to wonder if it's ever going to rain again. We could use a little bit, maybe.
I don't want to spoil the party, though. I mean, the weather's been amazing.
Oh, it's been great. It's been great, but have you tried to mow the grass? You know how dry it is? It's like a dust cloud.
Don't drop a match.
No, not yet. I'm just saying we could use a little bit. I don't want like a month of rain, but hey. We'll deal with whatever we've got.
Hey, I was even putting RC here on the spot yesterday. Went and inspected a garden and had a wonderful morning. And gentleman was like, "Hey, man, could you please tell me what's going on with my grass?" I said, "I don't know, but I guarantee I do know." So before you had to go on air, you were answering grass questions for me. So I greatly appreciate it, buddy.
Well, and I feel like you far overestimate my agronomical or horticultural abilities or thoughts, but I gave you an opinion.
Nah, I figured you. I
Cut that
knew.
bad boy low and pour the fertilizer to it.
Yes, sir. Let God do His work. Yeah.
Fertilizer, water, and let God's sunshine do the rest. So,
but no, I greatly appreciated it. I knew you were prepping for a ball game, and you didn't know you were going to get a gardening question on a Sunday morning,
right.
did you?
Man, it's going to be gorgeous today. Low 80s in Senatobia. Overnight lows in the mid-60s, mostly cloudy, light winds. It was breezy yesterday. South-southwest 10 to 15 miles an hour. Really low chance of rain, only about 10, maybe 20%. Some isolated showers are possible as part of the broader... That's where we're headed, right? I don't know that we're going to get a front with a bunch of rain, but it's going to be the patchy afternoon showers that pop up here and there. Winona, 83 degrees for you today. Overnight low of 64, mostly cloudy. Chance of a thunderstorm or maybe a shower early in the day for you. Winds out of the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Taylorsville, you're checking in at about 84 today with an overnight low of 60, mostly cloudy, some light winds. Lower rain risk for you than in some parts of the northern Mississippi. And Leakesville, 83 for you today with an overnight low of 59, mostly cloudy, light southeast winds with a very, very small chance of precipitation. So if you get a little bit of rain, that's probably all it's going to be, is just a little bit. Today, April 13th, 2026, Thomas Jefferson was born on this day in 1743. One of the founding fathers of the United States, the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, the third president of the United States. He served for 8 years, from 1801 until 1809, a diplomat, an architect, an inventor, and a founder of the University of Virginia. TJ, quite the guy.
Yeah.
He certainly has his detractors.
Yeah, well, you had the 13 virtues, too, if you'll remember. Back when you were probably in junior high, you had to read that. And it was like, silence and sincerity and moderation, humility, all that good stuff, He was one of the first to kind of put that out and have an approach, a 13-step plan.
That's right.
He had all kind of stuff he was into, though.
Very well read. Catherine de' Medici was born in 1519, an Italian-born queen consort of France. She was married to Henry II, a powerful regent who wielded enormous influence during the French Wars of Religion. She was a key figure in 16th century European politics. Guy Fawkes was born in 1570, the English Catholic soldier and conspirator best known for his role in the Gunpowder Plot of 1605, an attempt to assassinate King James I by blowing up the Houses of Parliament. His legacy lives on every November 5th with Guy Fawkes Night. Frank Woolworth, born in 1852, the retail pioneer who founded the F.W. Woolworth Company and popularized the five-and-dime store concept.
And don't you come back to the Woolworths. You get thrown out of a Woolworths,
You've done something?
Yeah, you've done something wrong, yeah.
Butch Cassidy was born in 1866, thought to have died in 1908, but there's some question to that. The notorious American outlaw and leader of the Wild Bunch gang. Of course, running with the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, the Wild Bunch gang sounds like a good crew there to be running with.
Yeah?
Wild Bunch. I love it.
Like back then, something that Ed Ogeron would have been a part of.
Be ripping shirts off coming into town.
Or he was Wild Boys.
The Wild Boys. Yeah, that was the first rendition of it.
Al Green, born in 1946, the legendary American soul and gospel singer and songwriter, known as the Prince of Soul. Hits include Let's Stay Together, Tired of Being Alone, Love and Happiness. He later became a pastor while continuing to record. You have heard of him referred to as the Reverend Al Green. Smooth voice. So we've got the Queen of Soul, the King of Soul, the Prince of Soul. How many?
There's royalty, so
there is royalty in soul.
Striations there.
Mm-hmm. Ron Perlman, born on this day in 1950. Actor and voice artist known for his roles in Beauty and the Beast as Vincent, Hellboy, Sons of Anarchy, and voicing characters in animated films and games, has appeared in over 100 films and TV shows.
Hey, one that if you haven't seen it, and it's definitely worth the watch. It doesn't get great ratings, but it's called Moonwalkers.
Okay.
And he's a CIA agent that's kind of disturbed, and he goes into England to find Stanley Kubrick so they could film the moon landing. This is set in the 60s. Well, he doesn't actually find Kubrick. He finds somebody playing Kubrick. So the story kind of ensues from there, where he gives this make-believe Kubrick guy a lot of money to do the moon landing, fake it, and it turns into a bohemian craziness as they try to get this pulled off. So it's really a good movie if you haven't seen it. It's called Moonwalkers. Very entertaining.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's one of his best to me. If you like Perlman, it is. He's at his absolute best there.
Garry Kasparov, born in 1963, the Russian chess grandmaster, widely considered one of the greatest chess players of all time. He became the youngest undisputed world chess champion in 1985, and then later became a prominent political activist and writer. And one more birthday for you this morning. The fabulously talented, born in 1909, Mississippian Eudora Welty. Short story writer and novelist known for her vivid portrayals of Southern life. Won the Pulitzer Prize for The Optimist's Daughter and received numerous honors for her literary contributions. The remarkable Eudora Welty. We'll take a time out. Got some things that happened on this day in history for you. And news headlines, your morning sports update, and more. Glad to be with you. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Your smart speaker, phone, computer, and FM on your radio. Everywhere you listen, you'll find the voice of Mississippi. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Appreciate you being with us as we start a new week together this Monday morning, April the 13th. If you're moving a little slow this morning, you got a Masters hangover, that's okay. Make yourself, put your feet on the floor, get that first cup of coffee, step outside and enjoy the day. Going to be a great one. We're glad to start the week with you. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. In 1204, the sack of Constantinople. Some call it the Fourth Crusade. The Crusaders captured and looted Constantinople. I really like saying that word.
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?
I had a hard time with that one in 10th grade.
The very pretentious names back then, like Byzantium and Constantinople.
Yeah.
Some big names.
Constantinople and the Byzantine Crusaders. The Byzantine Empire.
You knew they had some great uniforms.
Oh, yeah, probably so. The shocking event temporarily ended the Byzantine Empire and created the Latin Empire, which doesn't sound nearly as cool. I bet they had bad uniforms.
Yeah.
Weakening Constantinople for centuries and straining relations between Eastern and Western Christianity. 1742, the world premiere of George Friedrich Handel's famous oratorio Messiah. It received its first performance in a concert hall in Dublin, Ireland. It was an immediate success and has since become one of the most beloved choral works in classical music history. It is interesting to me that the world debut of the Messiah, the musical piece, happened in April. That is very much a classical music piece that we associate with the Christmas season.
Yeah. Can you imagine, too, like the record player wasn't, recordings weren't available to like 1877. So then actually to go hear any of this, you had to go and be in a concert hall where it was so beautifully and masterfully performed each and every time.
You didn't just download it to your Apple Music account.
Yeah. So like hearing about it, you had to like schedule the time to go listen to this amazing piece of work by Handel and many of the others, too.
And, of course, the signature piece I say, of course. The signature piece in the Messiah is the Hallelujah Chorus. We sang that in high school, our high school course. It was one of those things that growing up as a kid in church, I don't know if any of you can relate to these. The Hallelujah Chorus was in the songbook that we had at church. Like it was, you flip to a page, it was like, hey, the Hallelujah Chorus. Never sang it. Nobody could lead it. Nobody knew all the parts. It's like, this is a piece for a trained chorus to sing. And then we did that in high school, in our high school chorus at Oxford High School with Ava Bonds, God rest her soul. Oh, the Lord got him. Yeah, the whole deal. Anyway, 1861, the surrender of Fort Sumter after 34 hours of bombardment by Confederate forces. Union troops at Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina, surrendered. This marked the beginning of armed hostilities in the American Civil War. In 1970, an oxygen tank exploded aboard Apollo 13 spacecraft while it was about 200,000 miles from Earth, crippling the mission to the moon. The famous line, Houston, we have a problem, was uttered at the time, and the crew famously used the lunar module as a lifeboat to return safely to Earth in a dramatic rescue.
That's quite the understatement of what was going on, too. Like, Houston, we have a problem. I mean, what was actually happening there? A little bit more than a problem. Can you imagine being 200,000 miles away from home and the oxygen goes out?
Hey, Dad, are we there yet? No!
Shut up.
First known elephant in the United States arrived in New York City from Bengal, India in 1796. The young Asian elephant was soon put on public display for 25 cents a view and toured the East Coast for years, fascinating early Americans. In 1964, Sidney Poitier became the first African-American to win the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in Lilies of the Field. It was a landmark moment in Hollywood and for the broader civil rights era. 1997. At the age of 21, Tiger Woods became the youngest golfer to win the Masters. With a record-breaking 12-stroke victory, transforming professional golf and immediately making Tiger Woods one of the most popular athletes on the planet.
Well, I mean, when you a 12-stroke victory, I mean, that's like lapping somebody in a race, isn't it?
Yeah, and he was also 18 under par, which was the lowest score in relation to par in the history of the tournament. Last one for you. I don't even know that I can get these names right, but I'm sure going to try. In 1612, Miyamoto Musashi defeated Sasaki Kojiro in a famous duel on Funajima Island in Japan. Musashi, one of Japan's most celebrated swordsmen, used a wooden bakken, a practice sword carved from an oar, and went on to become a legendary figure in Japanese martial arts history.
Sato Miyagi.
Tell you what, you just go ahead and use that regular sword. I got this old boat oar, kind of carved it to a point, and we'll get after it. What do you think? Sure.
Yeah. That's bold.
Boat oar boy was pretty good.
Must have been.
All right, news headlines for you this morning. A shooting in Belzona took the life of one and injured at least 5 others on Saturday, according to the Humphreys County Sheriff's Department. They said deputies, along with the officers from the Belzona Police Department, arrived to multiple reports of gunshots on Silver City Road late on Saturday. Upon arrival, they found several individuals suffering from gunshot wounds. At least 5 were injured, 1 dead. The deceased later identified as Greenville native Michaela Adams, per the Delta News. No arrest made yet. Humphreys County Sheriff's Department would love your help. They say anyone with information, please contact their office. In Game 2 of a college baseball series between rivals Ole Miss and LSU, tensions flared off the diamond between fans of the two programs. While the Rebels and the Tigers were duking it out on the playing field, an altercation in the student section at Swayze landed 52-year-old Alton Bloodworth behind bars. That's right, 52 years old in the student section. Videos circulating on social media show Bloodworth donning a gold LSU jersey, punching an unidentified male in the face and striking him again while he was being escorted out of the stadium. Before punches were thrown, someone sitting in the student section as Bloodworth was being escorted out threw a beer in his face. Security guard rushed down to admonish one of the students, and he was about it. I mean, he was about it. Turns out, wasn't the right student. And the student that was being admonished by the security guard for throwing the beer didn't throw the beer, but then he wore the left hook. Bloodworth was handcuffed, transported to the Lafayette County Detention Center, where he was charged with simple assault, bonded out at just over $330. Do
you think they ran by Chevron on the way and got him a basket full of corn dogs before he got thrown in the clink?
I'm going to go with no.
The UPD, they're the nice guys.
The number of bad decisions, starting with choosing to sit in the Ole Miss student section as a 52-year-old, presumably grown man, wearing the opposing team's colors and drinking copious amounts of Busch Light. I'm just typecasting now. Anyway, residents and business owners in 36 counties impacted by Mississippi's worst winter weather event in over 3 decades can now apply for individual assistance. Individual assistance through FEMA. Governor Tate Reeves announced on Saturday that the state's request for individual assistance through FEMA was approved by President Donald Trump. Individual assistance available to residents and business owners and can include grants for temporary housing, home repairs, and low-cost loans to cover uninsured property losses. You can find the full list of affected counties on our website, supertalk.fm. That's supertalk.fm. Quick time out, a couple of more news headlines for you, then we'll get to the sports. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank.
From the my fellow citizens. Mornings with Richard Cross.
Right here, right now.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Let's go back, let's go way on, way back when. I didn't even know you couldn't have been too much more than 10. I ain't no psychiatrist, I ain't no doctor with degrees.
Speaking of thinking, let's think through this just one more time. You've probably watched the video of the guy in the gold LSU jersey with the left hook to the college student. Frat boy got what he deserved. Punched the wrong one, but yeah, maybe he deserved it too. Think about the sequence of decisions that gets you to the point where you went to jail. I mean, it starts with looking at the schedule, maybe months in advance, weeks, days. Who knows? Maybe he woke up on Saturday morning and was like, hey, it's a beautiful day. My Tigers are playing in Oxford today. All right, so you look at the schedule, you decide to go. You reportedly live in Mississippi, the northwestern corner of the state. I probably don't need to be any more specific than that. I think the internet's already doxed the guy. Although it's not really doxing somebody when your photo is there for public consumption. Your mugshot. So you decide to go to the game. You're like, but we can't go to the game if we don't get a bunch of beer or buy it there. So you get the beer piece of it. You go, I've lived a good life, but I want to go back and live the good old days, relive the good old days. Let's go sit in the student section. But I'm one of the visiting fans, and I'm going to raise Cain, and I'm going to drink beer, and I'm going to be as obnoxious as can be when my team has a lead for like 5 minutes all weekend. And then I'm going to have to wear it, and at some point I'm going to get so fed up that I'm going to say something that is going to cause me to get escorted out of the stadium by security, and they're all going to laugh at me, they're going to boo me, and they're going to yell at me. And then somebody throws a beer in my face, and that will be the tipping point that in which I will have had enough. And I'm going to slug somebody and then go down on top and continue to punch them. Now, credit to the guy. It was not your typical college student fight. He landed that punch. And the secondary one as well.
It was a pretty good stiff left there, yeah.
It was.
The opening volley.
But our guy decided to, like, the series of decisions that got you to the point where you're behind bars is remarkable. A Mississippi Blues Trail marker has been unveiled at arguably the most influential place in the history of the Delta Blues. Where are we talking about? We're talking about the Crossroads. Officials gathered in Clarksdale to get a first look at the marker, which stands tall along the crossroads of Highway 61 and 49, the landmark deeply rooted in Mississippi history and folklore. It's most commonly known as the place where iconic Mississippi bluesman Robert Johnson is rumored to have sold his soul to the devil. Johnson was born in Hazelhurst in 1911, spent his early years living in Tennessee, Arkansas, and the Mississippi Delta. During his time in Memphis, his affinity for music grew. Though he was initially known as a relatively skilled harmonica player, nobody thought he was any good. In fact, he was jeered for his lack of guitar skills. And then on a journey to an area near his birthplace in pursuit of his biological father, he came across a different discovery after learning from guitar greats Son House and Ike Zimmerman, a man said to have learned supernaturally to play guitar by visiting graveyards at midnight. Johnson supposedly had a supernatural encounter of his own at the Crossroads, the intersection of Highways 49 and 61. As the legend goes, Johnson met the devil, where he is rumored to have surrendered his soul to the Prince of Darkness in exchange for extraordinary guitar-playing skills. The blues singer later mentioned this mythological account in his song Crossroad Blues. After the infamous deal with the devil was reached, Johnson became an immensely popular musical journeyman everywhere he went, with a unique ability to entertain crowds all over the United States. More importantly, a trailblazer who paved the path for later musicians to achieve success in the blues sphere. Johnson died of unknown causes in Greenwood at the young age of 27, though theories of his passing have circulated. But his legend continues to live on to this day at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They consider him the first ever rock star.
Well, and, you know, he inspired the movie The Crossroads with Miyagi's son, Daniel's son on there. That was an excellent movie. Absolutely great. If you set back in the, 90s, and Jamie Gertz and Daniel LaRusso.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, it's really good. And,
Ralph Macchio.
Ralph Macchio. It's an excellent movie, but it's, set around a lost song of Robert Johnson, and they go, rolling through the state of Mississippi trying to find it.
So you can visit the Blues Trail marker now in Clarksdale.
That's awesome, because that's one that you would think would have kind of been there, given it was.
Well, there's been a lot of debate as to where the actual crossroads was. Yeah. All right, time for your morning sports update, brought to you by Pearl River Resort, online at pearlriverresort.com. Pearl River Resort, home of the sports book at Timeout Lounge. It's inside the Golden Moon Casino, a place where you can go and get in on the action. Learn more at PearlRiverResort.com. For the first time since 2022, Ole Miss with a sweep of LSU. They won game 1 6-3. They got a run rule victory in game 2, 12-2. That was in 7 innings. And then yesterday, a Braden Randall RBI single in the 7th that scored Hayden Federico from third proved to be the winning run as Ole Miss defeated LSU 8-7 to complete the sweep. The Rebels knocked 32 hits on the weekend. It's most against an SEC foe this season. Rebels led in the game 7-0 through 6 innings. Taylor Rabe had not allowed a hit. It was a no-hitter through 6 before LSU exploded for 7 runs on 8 hits in the 7th inning. Back-to-back-to-back home runs to start. Couple of singles. Big base hit from their 9-hole hitter. And all of a sudden it's 7-7. But then Ole Miss answered and held on for the win. How about that? All 7 of LSU's runs and all 8 of their hits came in 1 inning. Ole Miss now 26-11, 8-7 in the SEC. They will meet Southern Miss on Tuesday night before heading to Knoxville for a 3-game series this weekend with the Tennessee Volunteers. Speaking of Tennessee, not exactly the most hospitable guests. They were kind of rude, actually. Mississippi State swept at home by Tennessee this weekend. The Bulldogs have now lost 6 straight in SEC play at Dudy Noble on the heels of sweeping Ole Miss and Oxford. Game 1 on Friday night, they lost 6-5. Game 2 on Saturday, they lost 6-2. And then yesterday, number 9 Mississippi State could not recover from an early deficit or a late surge by Tennessee, falling 7-2 to the Vols. To close out the series, the Diamond Dogs managed just 6 hits, unable to string together sustained offense against the Tennessee pitching staff that kept Mississippi State off balance most of the day. Tennessee put the game away in the 9th inning, plating 3 runs on 4 hits, highlighted by Levi Clark's 2-run double. State now hits the road for its next 4 at Samford on Tuesday night, and then at South Carolina next weekend. Southern Miss goes down in Lafayette. Golden Eagles won the season series opener 8-1 on Friday. On Saturday, lost 8-4, and then yesterday, the Raging Cajuns scored in 4 straight innings to upend number 10 Southern Miss. The Golden Eagles lost consecutive games for the first time this year, couldn't overcome 8 walks and 4 hit by pitch, or 4 hit batters by their pitching staff. Joey Irvin and Seth Smith led the way for the Golden Eagles, each with 3 hits and a 10-hit attack. First, 8-7 in Sunbelt play for Southern Miss. Lost their opening series of conference play, won 3 in a row, and then they lose this one on the road. Rory McIlroy had to wait more than a decade to win the Masters and complete the career Grand Slam. He had to wait less than a year to take home his 2nd green jacket. After squandering a record 6-stroke lead in Saturday's 3rd round, McIlroy briefly lost the lead again on Sunday, at one point trailing by 3 on the second 9 at Augusta National, but became the first back-to-back Masters champion since Tiger Woods in 2001, 2002, and the 4th overall, joining Jack Nicklaus and Sir Nick Faldo. Shot a 1/73 on Saturday, a 1/71 on Sunday, bogeyed the 18th hole, finished at 12 under 276, and was able to say, hey, this jacket still fits. That is your sports update, brought to you by Pearl River Resort. We're back with you to wrap up the 6 o'clock hour right after this.
Zippy wakes up smarter. Headlines, context, and the conversations that matter most. Mornings with Richard Cross, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Mississippi Lottery Update. Time for that right now with you. Brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery online at mslottery.com. That's mslottery.com. Be sure to download the free Mississippi Lottery app. No jackpot winner on Powerball over the weekend after the big win last week. $45 million is the new jackpot for tonight's drawing with an estimated cash value of $20,500,000. Mega Billions is up to $120 million. The next drawing is tomorrow night. The estimated cash value of that, $53.5 million. Friday night's numbers were 3, 18, 36, 42, 49. The Mega Ball was 6. Still don't have a winner on the Millionaire for Life. Obi and I were talking about that one in the car the other day. He's like, hey, that'd be kind of cool. I was like, yes. Why, yes, as a matter of fact, it would. Check out your Millionaire for Life tickets where you buy your lottery tickets. He asked me, he goes, I guess you're going to be buying a few of those tickets, aren't you, Dad? I said, well, yeah, probably so. How about Friday? A Mississippi Match 5 winner, a ticket purchased at State Line Express in Caledonia, matched all 5 numbers to win the $350,000 jackpot. That's great. Lottery claims office last week, he didn't hit them very hard last week. Paid out $635,000. Retailers about $5.5 million. Be sure to check it out. The Mississippi Lottery, the app, the website, and your local lottery retailers where you grab your tickets. That update brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Glad to be with you this morning. William Russell will join us at 7:20 today. He's the former advisor and state director for Mississippi for the Trump campaign. He is a partner with Ballard Partners in D.C. We'll talk about what's going on in D.C., what the reaction is to what is happening in Iran, and what the legislature is going to do. The Congress is going to do. Don't they go back to work today?
Who's this?
Congress.
Have they been working?
No. They've had the last 2 weeks off.
Oh, no, I was kind of kidding, yeah. I knew this was the Easter break, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were accomplishing about the same thing during the break. As
most of us get Good Friday. Some get Good Friday and the following Monday. Congress gets 2 weeks. Great gig if you can get it.
Oh, isn't it?
Although not everybody used their time well while they were away. Swalwell not going to be the governor of California. What is Trump doing with the picture of himself portrayed as Jesus with his hand on the forehead of a sick... What? Stop! It's incredibly sacrilegious. It's incredibly disrespectful. It flies in the face of your supporters who largely are believers in Jesus as the healer of men and the savior of all. And there's been this, during this particular presidency of Trump, the second go around, there has been an increased focus on religion, faith, spirituality. I would rather you not talk about religion, faith, or spirituality at all than I would you use it as a prop or a political tool. Because if that is what you are doing, maybe it was just ill-advised. Maybe somebody sent it to Trump. He didn't think. He tweets it out. He's like, look at me. I'm like Jesus. You're not. At all. Okay? You're not. But if his understanding of faith and Christianity is so shallow that he thinks that is okay, then I hope he is continuing to seek truth and continuing to learn so that he will get to a point where he doesn't believe that's okay. And that's not from a judgment standpoint. That is from an offense standpoint. Like if you think you can take the Christian faith and use that as a political prop or a political tool or a ha, look at this, then that is offensive to me as a Christian. Not okay with that. It's sacrilegious and it's blasphemous. Like, just don't say anything. Don't do anything. Don't pretend to use the bullet shot by my ear and God intervened. Maybe he did. Just show a little gratitude for that, as opposed to trying to put your own self on the same platform as our Lord and Savior, Jesus. 7 o'clock hour on the way. News is next.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Reaching across the state and across the aisle. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Oh, baby, baby, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in this game. Oh, baby, baby, oops, you think I'm in love, and I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent.
Good morning to you and welcome aboard. If you're just joining us, thank you for popping in. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're more than just a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors, your partners, and your trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've been rooted in our community, helping families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. Whether it's opening your first savings account, planning for a brighter future, or growing your business, we're here every step of the way. We're dedicated to our customers, committed to your success, and always here when you need us. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Member FDIC. Thanks for joining us. The C Spire text line is open, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. Great deals available for you at C Spire. With C Spire, it's easier than ever to get all the devices you want in one move with the Ultimate Connect bundle. Right now, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet, plus 100 gigs of data for just $90. That includes the new iPhone 17 and the Samsung Galaxy S26 for free, plus a tablet, plus a smartwatch. Don't wait, there's more to see. Visit cspire.com or stop by your local C Spire store today. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Thanks for joining us. On Friday night, I don't even know what time zone we're talking about, but on Friday night, the peace talks between the United States and Iran, perhaps some role for Israel in those as well, were to begin in Islamabad, Pakistan, the mediator of the peace talks. There's probably a joke in there somewhere about Pakistan being the mediator of the peace talks, or the location, at least, of the peace talks. And apparently they went pretty well. Until they didn't.
At it now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
Interesting framing there. I think that's absolutely intentional. for J.D. Vance to say, we have made known where our red lines are, where our non-negotiables are, and they have chosen to not accept our terms. It's like you kind of make action words there instead of going, we couldn't come to an agreement. You lay all of the blame on Iran in the way that you do that. So what couldn't they come to an agreement on? Kind of the stuff that you would have expected them not to be able to come to an agreement on. The things that always were going to be non-negotiable for us and Iran was never going to agree to. Hey, you can't have a nuclear weapon. You can't have nuclear material. Got it? Yeah, we're not giving up our nuclear program. All right, then we're done here. So what's next? Apparently, we are about to embark in a naval blockade. Lance, is this a blockade to the blockade?
It's a good question. I mean, from what I can tell, it looks like they're trying to stop all of the ships that Iran is letting through that are, paying them, so to speak. Yeah.
Right. So Iran not exactly running a blockade, they're just patrolling the waters and setting up agreements for those who are willing to, under the table, over the table, whatever, pay them for the right to use the Strait of Hormuz. And the United States says, nah, it's not going to work. And so we're going to blockade the whole thing. But we're not going to blockade it in a way that means nobody can use it. We are going to put in a naval blockade where any ship that is paying the fees to Iran, they're going to be in trouble, but we're going to open this thing up for free passage so that the free flow of oil can happen globally. By the way, there is something that is really, really interesting that is happening right now if you look at global shipping maps. We will get to that with William Russell coming up in just a little bit. Every time you think that Donald Trump has gone kind of bonkers, something happens that makes you at least wonder, does he have a bigger plan than he has been given credit for? Was Venezuela tied to a plan for Donald Trump, knowing what he was about to do with Iran? Is the conversation about Cuba tied to this? If you go back to the executive order about the Panama Canal and the Chinese not controlling the Panama Canal anymore, was it anticipation that a year later we would be controlling the Strait of Hormuz or trying to control it? And the number of ships getting oil from the United States and fleshing out across the globe was going to multiply? Is that giving him too much credit, or is that not giving him enough credit? All right, so Trump about the blockade. This was, what are we today? We're April 13th today, so this was yesterday morning from Donald Trump. So there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in, all being allowed to go out basis, but Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about but them. This is world extortion, and leaders of countries, especially the United States, will never be extorted. I've also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid out in the straits. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Iran knows better than anyone how to end this situation, which has already devastated their country. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Khomeini and most of their leaders are dead, all because of their nuclear ambition. The blockade will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved in this blockade. Sounds like maybe the UAE is one of them. They want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, and at an appropriate moment, we are fully locked and loaded, and our military will finish up the little that is left of Iran. I mean, it's everything we're doing is about the Strait of Hormuz. We're opening this thing. We're not letting the countries that are paying illegal fines to Iran to use it. They're not traveling on the open seas, but everybody else is going to. And oh, by the way, we're going to bomb the crap out of you again. I mean, just like a little tagline on the end. Oh, by the way, military is ready to go. We're going to start bombing you again. Have we decimated, obliterated, and ended their nuclear program? It was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Never found them. It's the reason that people continue to be so frustrated with that war. It's the reason that Trump was able to campaign on the basis of no more never-ending wars. I can make a really profound argument for why what has happened in Iran needed to happen in Iran. But you got to wipe out the nuclear program. And it does not appear that it's been completely wiped out. You have made the world a safer place. You have, for the most part, rid Iran of this evil, terrorist-supporting regime. You got to finish the job. Hope you had a plan to do that going in the way it appears you've had a plan to do a lot of other things, I think. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. We're back with you right after this.
If you ever be mine, I'll make love to you any old time.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
What's up?
Let's get the show going.
SuperTalk, Mississippi.
This hour of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR and benefits and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services plus a custom plan that fits you. Call today, 601-206-7966, or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. My first guest this morning, my first guest of the week, William Russell. He has worked in state and federal politics for a long time, former advisor to the Trump campaign, state director for Mississippi. He is a partner at Ballard Partners in Washington, D.C. With that vest on, he looks like a partner at a big firm in D.C. William, good morning.
Good morning. That was the plan, to look snappy on a Monday morning, but I'm batting leadoff, so hopefully I can do better than the Mississippi State leadoff hitters this weekend. That's what I'm going to say.
I see the cowbell over your left shoulder.
It stayed there for the weekend.
I got a cowbell now.
You do not. Where is it? Put in the shot.
It's right there.
Oh my goodness. Does it not ring? Come on now.
It's broken, man.
That's hilarious.
There's a joke there. No, it was Dr. Keenum gave this to me. Very grateful for it, and it was wrapped when I got it, and I just felt like I didn't want to disrupt the packaging.
Yeah, of course. That's appropriate. That's appropriate response.
Yeah.
It was a tough baseball weekend for the Dogs. Hopefully they can put it back together again. I don't know.
But that is not why we brought you on, not to discuss Mississippi State baseball, but rather to discuss all things going on. Like, is Congress ever going to work again?
Well, you know what's funny is I was just looking through some news. They're actually, this is hot off the presses. Senate Republicans are hammering out a budget resolution to unlock reconciliation powers for immigration funding bill. It would be a 3-year bill that would fund ICE and CBP. So that's progress. I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath. I've been, not surprised by the movement here in D.C. on DHS funding, but any news at this point is good news that we're going to try to come to some sort of resolution and get DHS reopened again. That's the hope. That's the thought. We'll see.
Did the Senate do their thing where they technically stayed in session by gaveling in and out every day or so during the recess or during the break to keep Trump from making any recess appointments?
That was the plan. Keep it going. And that was, when we were initially talking about this, I guess just a couple of weeks ago, the thought was to get the DHS secretary both through committee and then through a full vote, Senate confirmation vote, as well as at the same time get DHS funding done so that everybody could be starting off the new month of April on track, ready to go into Easter break, ready to take your vacation. They weren't able to do the last part, and that kind of it continues to hamstring the agency. And I've got friends over there, and I've got business over there watching a kind of a stalemate, which is not fun. It's not fun for the guys who are there, who have been appointed to those positions to do a job that are sitting on their hands. It's also not good for TSA. It's not good for CBP, ICE, everyone down the line who are doing their jobs right now, but they're not getting paid. Now, I know that the president has tried some financial tactics to make sure that people are getting paid, or at least starting to get some back pay, which is what I heard last week, that they are starting to get back pay. But this is still, imagine trying to do your job and being told, yeah, we'll pay you, but once your business opens back up again, which could be, I think we're in day 66 now. That's a bunch of pay periods without a paycheck. And I don't know a whole lot of people who are able to do that right now in this country.
Absolutely. There was a story that kind of developed yesterday afternoon and evening, and you started seeing maps, global shipping maps that were posted all over X, and they were showing an increased amount of activity in the Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico, if you still want to call it that body of water to our south. And the thought is that there are a lot of shipping companies and oil importers and exporters who said, we can't wait on the Strait of Hormuz. Let's head to the Gulf and buy American oil. Was this part of a bigger plan all along for the president?
Well, that's been the conversation ever since this conflict in Iran begun. The Strait of Hormuz was always going to be a threat. I didn't want to end up here. I don't think the president and his team wanted to end up here where the Strait of Hormuz is completely blocked off. But I also think that I know that for the past several weeks, there have been conversations inside this administration trying to find alternative ways to make sure energy and product is coming to the United States despite what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. And that's maximizing, specifically in the energy sector, maximizing any output that the Western Hemisphere has to provide right now. And that's kind of, Donald Trump, mastermind of moving product. That's what he's done. Marketing genius. They're finding a way to at least provide a little bit of relief. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing such an aggressive stance in Venezuela as well, that this administration is taking. Let's take, for example, OFAC licenses that come out of Treasury. If you are going to do business in a hostile territory like Venezuela, you must have an OFAC license. Those licenses, you have to apply for them. They go into review and they're granted by the administration. That's a long time period. Well, they've shrunk that time period down to 4 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, just to get a license out so businesses can start doing those transactions. So this administration is trying to find a relief valve, and as opposed to letting whatever happen in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, they're going to find a way to work around it here in the Western Hemisphere.
OFAC, the Office of Foreign Assets Control, it is in place to engage in transactions that would otherwise be prohibited by economic and trade sanctions. So some of that red tape is being cut. I guess my thought is, if you think of this as a chess game, you look at some of the moves that Trump has made, and you're like, is there a strategy here at all, or is this completely haphazard? But it feels like it would be coincidence, and a crazy coincidence, to say one of the first things that he did when he came back into office was attack the way that the Panama Canal is working. So that has been opened, and there's American trade. And you've got the Venezuela piece, and you've got the conversation about Cuba while you have all of this going on in Iran. And it would be just a really convenient coincidence for all of those things to work in a way that now you can get the United States supplying more oil to the rest of the world and using the Western Hemisphere to do that. But at the same time, it feels like you might be giving credit where it's not necessarily due, but it's hard to just chalk it up to blind luck.
I think that a lot of the plans, specifically from an international foreign policy standpoint, were written in pencil. Like, we have our ideas and we have our ideals, and we have our objectives that we want to meet. There are a lot of different paths to accomplishing one objective from a foreign policy standpoint. And you've seen how he's been successful, specifically in Venezuela. Whether you want to call it a win or not, and I'm not here to defend or prosecute this administration on Iran, if the chief goal was to put Iran on its heels and decimate their nuclear program, they've done exactly that. They've done a very good job. I do not believe, and I don't think that there's anybody in the foreign policy space that believes that Iran has the ability to take an aggressive action with a nuclear warhead. Mission accomplished. Now, there's
hold on a second. Is this George W. Bush mission accomplished, or is it really mission accomplished? Because it does not appear that all of the nuclear material has been taken away or eradicated. I completely agree with you that you have certainly delayed the nuclear program, but has it been eradicated?
That's a great question. I'm not sure, and I don't know what they're doing, the processes that they're taking to remove that nuclear capability. When I say a threat, I would never have thought that this administration, and this is not their position. I don't think this administration went into Iran, took an aggressive approach to Iran, unless there was something imminent. Right? It's not going to be a preemptive strike just because we think something may be out there. I think they had actionable intelligence that had them a lot closer to something that could have hurt a lot of people. That's why they did what they did. So that's what in the frame of reference. If we're looking at this war from a position of we needed to eliminate an immediate threat, we did that. Now there's always cleanup, and I give it to you, Richard. Like, that's part of the cleanup. We have to go in and get the rest of the nuclear material. But as far as having a direct threat on the United States or anybody or any of our allies, we took care of that.
William Russell is my guest. He's a partner with Ballard Partners in Washington, D.C., former advisor to the Trump campaign. He was the state director here in Mississippi. We will continue the conversation coming up in just a couple of minutes. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. We're back with you right after this.
From the
Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Grab another cup of coffee and start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Good to be with you on this Monday morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi. William Russell is my guest. There was a post on Truth Social over the weekend from Donald Trump of an image in which A lot of people are saying he is portraying himself as Jesus, where he is laying his hand on the forehead of a sick person. There's a lot of patriotic symbolism in there, eagles flying, soldiers, the American flag, the Statue of Liberty, the Capitol in the background. And there are a lot of people that this has hit the wrong way, and I think I'm one of them. Trump has made spirituality and religion much more central in this presidency than he did in his first 4 years in office. And I don't think it does any of us any good to be in the judgment business, but I'm curious as to why Donald Trump would go this route, because there are a lot of people that have reached out to him and said, hey, this is not it. I say reached out to him. I'm talking about on social, through social media, that say, hey, this is not it. You got to delete this. Portraying yourself as Jesus is a really, really bad play. What is your take on this?
So, on its face, as a Bible believing Christian, I don't agree with this imagery. I think it is rather sacrilegious what he's doing here. But you also have to remember the context of Donald Trump and who he is and how he acts. Let's go a week back and look at the post on Easter Sunday. You know, the message from the president was "Praise be to Allah," and an obscene truth post about opening the Strait of Hormuz. Couple things. Donald Trump is very good at taking jabs at his adversary. Look at the context of how he wrote that truth on Easter morning, saying "Praise be to Allah." He obviously didn't mean that. That was a joke. That was in jest, a poke at Iran.
It was sarcasm.
Yeah. And I would say the same thing of this image. It's sarcasm. It's a poke at Pope Leo. I mean, he's at odds with him right now, and the Pope is claimed to be the powerful religious figure that he is. He sees that image and think, I could be the Pope too. Like anybody can be the Pope. We just picked him. It came around of Chicago, put Chicago on the map. I think that's the vein in which he did that. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. But here's also the thing. I don't agree with a lot of the way that he the tact or the tone that he takes to some issues. But that's just him. That he's the president of the United States. He's not the pastor of the United States, and I don't expect that. I also don't expect. I don't wish for that kind of imagery. I think it feels like a step too far for me. I don't agree with it. I certainly don't agree with it. And I wouldn't want my kids doing something like that, posting images like that. But if I got into the mind of Donald Trump, that's the perspective that I would take, is this is just a dig at Leo, at the Pope, because of the way that they're at each other. Both of them are at each other right now.
Visiting with William Russell, he is a partner at Ballard Partners in D.C., works in D.C., but has also worked in state politics, and from Mississippi. Always enjoy the conversations. We were talking a second ago about Congress getting back to work, coming back from their 2-week-long Easter break. In terms of getting things done, and we're kind of to the point where all eyes are turning toward midterms, and I don't think there are a ton of Republicans who are overly optimistic right now about maintaining control of both houses in Congress, the House and the Senate. Where are you on that conversation as we now are about, 15, 16 months away from primaries?
Well, I think that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not that far at all away. We're 6 months away from primaries.
That's right.
I was thinking about 27 state politics in Mississippi, not national. So 26 midterms, not 27 state elections. Sorry.
Isn't that so nice that we get to go through a midterm this fall, and then we get to do it all over again in Mississippi next year? It's so much fun. I think if the elections were held today, we would be in a pickle. that we're up against some tough candidates. Obviously, with given our international engagements, just the realities of the economy here at home, thanks in part to that, Republicans are going to have a hard time if it were right now. Now, we're a long way from that, and I do believe that we can get to a better spot, that we have a fighting chance in the fall. That's assuming we can get some of these foreign conflicts cleared up and get some clarity there. I also believe that that's a long time with a dynamic president like Donald Trump to kind of change the playing field. And there's a lot to happen. I know y'all talked about it on the show earlier, but something like Eric Swalwell dropping out, that kind of stuff, there are all kinds of opportunities for things to change a narrative. And I believe that we've got a couple more months. Now, talk to me in October, talk to me in August, we can get a better read of just what's going down. But I still think that there's an opportunity to kind of to right the ship here. I think that I feel confident that the Republicans are going to keep the Senate. My hope is that we can pull some magic out of the hat over the next 6 months and keep the House. But if it were right now, no, we wouldn't be in a good position. But there's tons of time. There's tons of time to get things turned around.
Is there anything that Congress could do legislatively that gives Republicans a better chance in the midterms than what they've done in the first year and 3 months of this presidency?
I don't necessarily think this falls on Congress. I think this is going to fall on the president and his leadership and the messaging to the American people. Because whether we like it or not, midterms are not necessarily about Congress itself. It's a referendum on the current administration. If the president and his team can shore up their messaging and be a little bit more disciplined, specifically when it comes to domestic issues, affordability, specifically when it comes to the price of oil, specifically as it applies from the foreign policy perspective, and how that everything that happens in the world has a direct impact on here at home. And I think that the tariffs, like, for example, the tariffs, I think the tariffs are doing a good thing. The Trump administration needs to do a better job of explaining where the money that's coming in from these tariffs, where they're going. I see it every day. I see investments in U.S.-based manufacturing. I see investments in U.S.-built projects right here in the United States, thanks to this tariff money. That's one of the ways that we can show that all of the work that the president has done thus far is a net positive, and Congress can echo that. That's a win for them, even though they haven't codified it into the law. By keeping this Congress, my hope is that we can continue doing some of the positive things. And listen, this goes back to the very beginning when the president initially was running. He identified that there are problems here in the United States, and we can't snap our fingers and fix those problems just with the term of an administration. There will be a little bit of pain in order to get better. And I think that we're going through that cycle right now. Let's think back through Reagan's first midterm and how he got wiped off the face of the earth because of some of the moves that he made. And then 2 years later, Republicans won by margins that we haven't seen since then. Like there's a pattern, there's a process, if you stick with the plan, you get better. And this goes back to the conversation before the break. One thing that we didn't talk about is the whole overarching foreign policy narrative that this administration is after, and that's combating China, right? He wanted to shore up things, quickly address problems here in the Western Hemisphere. We wanted to strengthen our allies in the Middle East, which we have done, not just with Israel, but with surrounding countries, fix the problem on Iran, and think about what happens with the blockade. If we do a full blockade, Iran's biggest customer is China. They're the ones who are most impacted. So this last step in the process is targeting China economically, which is he's going to do. He's doing it right now.
Yeah. It is going to be fascinating to watch and see how many of these global issues play out over the next few weeks and months. William Russell, always appreciate your time. Great catching up with you this morning, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks for having me.
Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net, rooted in our community, member FDIC. We've got more coming up with you. We're back right after this on MRC SuperTalk Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass, a deep dive into the news and debates driving the day. All on your ride to work. Mornings with Richard Cross. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Good to be with you. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank. Thanks for joining us. Love to hear from you on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Right now at C Spire, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet, plus 100 gigs of data for just $90. There's more to see. Visit cspire.com today. In our conversation with William, you heard him reference Trump going after Pope Leo. Here's what that looked like and sounded like on Truth Social. Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He talks about fear of the Trump administration, but doesn't mention the fear that the Catholic Church and all other Christian organizations had during COVID when they were arresting priests, ministers, and everybody else for holding church services, even when going outside and being 10 and 20 feet apart. I like his brother Louis much better than I like him because Louis is all MAGA. He gets it, and Leo doesn't. I don't want a pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want a pope who thinks it's terrible that America attacked Venezuela, a country that was sending massive amounts of drugs into the United States, and even worse, emptying their prisons, including murderers, drug dealers, and killers into our country. And I don't want a pope who criticizes the president of the United States because I'm doing exactly what I was elected in a landslide to do, setting record low numbers in crime and creating the greatest stock market in history. Leo should be thankful because, as everyone knows, he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be pope and was only put there by the church because he was an American and they thought that would be the best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Unfortunately, Leo's weak on crime, weak on nuclear weapons, does not sit well with me, nor does the fact that he meets with Obama sympathizers like David Axelrod, a loser from the left who is one of those who wanted churchgoers and clerics to be arrested. Leo should get his act together as Pope, use common sense, stop catering to the radical left, and focus on being a great Pope, not a politician. It's hurting him very badly, and more importantly, it's hurting the Catholic Church. Signed, President Donald J. Trump. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. One thing that stood out to me in that was Trump pointing to his election. What this administration has done at the border was talked about a lot in the early months of the presidency. But that narrative has become less and less and less as other things have taken up all of the oxygen in the room. It was, if not the two biggest issues that led to Donald Trump's election as president for the second time were illegals coming into the country through the southern border unvetted and in record numbers, and affordability. Affordability in our day-to-day lives. In terms of the border, check, 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 underline it, highlight it, exclamation marks, all the way around. In terms of affordability, things were trending in the right direction. There certainly were questions and concerns about tariff policy. If you go back to, March of a year ago, I think you will find that I said, that Lance and I talked about, that you talked about, tariffs were going to lead to some short-term pain, but there was a longer-term play there, and there was some patience that was going to have to be put in place. I think we endured the short-term pain, and things were moving in the right direction with job growth, with inflation going down, gas prices down. I don't know that grocery prices went down a lot, maybe incrementally. But now, because of what is happening in the Middle East, the affordability piece has gone the opposite direction. Gas prices are higher than they've been in several years. Grocery prices are higher. Airlines are putting additional baggage fees in place. It's more expensive than it was. And maybe that's just the nature of where we are in life today. Things are going to continue to go up. And it's just going to be expensive. I don't think the mandate for Trump was a robust stock market, an exploding stock market. That is good for people that have investments and for retirement accounts. But it doesn't help the average American, the average Mississippian on a day-to-day basis when they're spending $400 a month at the grocery store and they're paying $4 a gallon for gas. So on safety and security in the border, A++ with glowing marks and a smiley face that the teacher drew with a red circle. On affordability, not so much.
From Duck Hill to Alligator, Mississippians start their day the right way. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome to the 8 o'clock hour of Mornings with Richard Cross on this Monday morning, the 13th of April. Thanks for joining us. Mornings is presented by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey. Looking to manage your personal finances, our banking services make it simple, secure, and tailored to you. Ready to grow your business? We offer expert guidance and custom solutions to help your business thrive. Dreaming of a new home? Our mortgage specialists are here to make the process seamless, all designed with you in mind. We're more than just a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. We welcome your comments, your feedback, your contribution to the conversation on the C Spire text line at 601-879-4395. 601-879-4395. We need to revisit Thursday of last week in Mississippi. If you were listening to Middays with Gerard Gibbert, then you know that this past Thursday was a big, big day for the state of Mississippi. Amazon Web Services, AWS, has made a significant impact in Mississippi. We know about the data center in Madison County and some of the subsequent things that they are doing. And the announcement that we had on Thursday was that more was on the way. 2 years ago, AWS broke ground on a $10+ billion data center project in Madison County. And just a handful of days ago, that investment more than doubled with Amazon committing an additional $12 billion to build a bigger presence in Mississippi. They had the gathering in Ridgeland, where Amazon is building one of its two major data centers in the county, to announce where the new investment will go. Governor Tate Reeves was there. Bill Cork was there. Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann was there, and a lot of people were smiling big as this announcement came to fruition. $11 billion going to extending operations in Ridgeland. $1 billion to establish a data center presence in Clinton. All in, Amazon and AWS are committing roughly $25 billion to the state of Mississippi in terms of projects for their company. That is expected to create an additional 2,000 new jobs. The Ridgeland expansion, another 700 jobs. Amazon's taking over the Delphi Corporation plant in Clinton. That's why it's a smaller amount of money going there than having to build from scratch. 100 new jobs are expected to be created there. They're also working on creating a data center presence in Warren County and Vicksburg, in addition to the Madison and Clinton projects. And you have all the ancillary construction jobs that go along with it. We've been talking a lot about upskill, the legislation that went into place during this past legislative session that will provide existing workers the ability to add to their skill set, to get certificates and training and make themselves more marketable for high-need jobs in Mississippi. This is part of that process. Yes, you will have people moving in from outside Mississippi to take advantage of some of these jobs, but you'll also have jobs that are going to Mississippians, people who live here, who call this home, and who have opportunities for new jobs. Yes, when it comes to data centers, there absolutely are detractors. We know that. And I don't think that some of those concerns are unreasonable, but Mississippi has put in some pretty significant safeguards, especially when it comes to the cost of energy consumption. That's something that MDA and the governor's office and the legislature have all worked together on, where there are projections of power consumption. There are partnerships with Entergy and other companies in Mississippi who are going to provide the power. And Lance, at least at the outset, it looks like that particular concern has kind of been set to the side, or they're trying to set that to the side and kind of cover what could be fallout if consumer rates increase, residential rates increase because of the demand for energy. And I guess one of the things that Haley Fasackerly told us when we visited with him most recently is, hey, we've accounted for the power production. We are increasing power capacity production. Are prices going to go up for residential consumers? Yes. But those prices were going to go up regardless of what is happening here. And so it's not a deal where it's like, oh, we've got data centers in Mississippi. These are big projects. They're consuming a lot of power. Your rates are going up as a result. It's rates are going up regardless because it's more expensive to produce power than it has been, and there's a greater need for power than we've ever had. But it's not necessarily because of the data centers, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You're going to have natural accretion there with power, energy, anything that's in high demand, right? I mean, we know that alone, they fluctuate. But things like gas and oil and, building stuff, that's going up. It's been going up, and it's always going to. But, yeah, at least you're trying to mitigate the risk of the consumer, footing the bill for construction or AI facilities that are the data centers. So, yeah, I mean, it all sounds pretty good right now. And hopefully, in practice, it will work exactly as Haley had mentioned. So, yeah. But at least you're thinking of those things because, yeah, that's some fallout if people all of a sudden a year later looking at a double on their power bill. The sticker shock
A couple of other concerns that people have had seem to be environmental in nature. One of them is sound. They talk about, there's this humming sound that won't go away. It sounds to me like, no pun intended, that engineers are working to mitigate some of the sound, and that already is less than it was with some of the earlier projects. And then the other piece has been, well, it's going to take so much water because you've got to have cooling related to these data centers, and now you're talking about contaminated water. Well, I'm not sure what the contamination that we're talking about is. I mean, if you're talking about water that runs through a chemical plant and comes in contact with chemicals in a plant and there's runoff into rivers and streams, okay, that's a valid concern. When we're just talking about water for cooling, if that water runs off, is that really an issue? And we're obviously not in California where water supply is a concern. We deal with drought. But it's not because our rivers and streams are being redirected or our reservoirs are being used to handle the water capacity needs for data centers. I've had trouble with that idea.
One of the things, the facts with data centers, it's generally about 70 to 80% of the water that is used is actually consumed. So that's part of the debate there is you've got water that gets used, you get water that's withdrawn, and water that's returned, right? The return would be the, say, 20% that isn't evaporated or used in the cooling processes. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of different, water issues like water, as far as you got closed loop systems and all kinds of different things that deal with water, free cooling, direct liquid cooling, closed loop water systems, evaporative cooling, and air cooling. So it's very complicated. But the real thing that you're looking at there is how much of the water is used and how much of it is returned back into the environment. About 20% of the water goes back. The other 70 to 80% is actually consumed. So, how that works out, not sure. But the environmental side of it being about 20% worry. What are you doing with the water after it is used to cool, and where does it go?
Well, and somebody says it's the concern is water consumption, not contamination.
There you go. Right. That's what I read mostly is the amount of water being used and not being returned into the system is the bigger problem than, it seems, the environmental issues.
Thomas says, my office is geothermal, same as data centers. Groundwater pumped up, run through a chiller, cools equipment. Then the slightly warmer water is pumped back into the ground. None is consumed. I don't know that none is consumed is accurate, but because you got evaporation pieces and whatever else. But I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But and on the surface, a $25 billion investment into Mississippi's economy that creates 2,000 jobs strikes me as a pretty good day, pretty significant day for the state of Mississippi. JT Mitchell will join us at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, about 15 minutes from right now. We've got more, though, coming up with you right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
In Mississippi, you're starting your day off right. Welcome to Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Thanks for joining us. It is Monday morning, April 13th. Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Community Bank. You may have seen the headlines over the weekend that Eric Swalwell is, did he say pausing or terminating his campaign for governor of the state of California? That's probably good news. The bad news is he's still in Congress. Is he going to be able to weather the storm in Congress, or is the news allegations of sexual assault going to cost him his congressional seat as well? I was thinking that it's hard to be the best at something. Right? It's hard to win a golf tournament. One of the things that Rory McIlroy said after yesterday's tournament was it was so hard a year ago, and I thought it was hard because I was trying to balance winning a major, the Masters, with also winning the career Grand Slam. But I discovered this year that winning the Masters is just hard, and it has nothing to do with the Grand Slam. It's a hard golf tournament to win. But he won it, and he was the best. It is hard to be the best. I would say it's also hard to be the slimiest slime ball in Congress. And yet somehow Eric Swalwell seems to be making it look easy. One of my favorite sayings, I don't know that if I coined this or it's just something that kind of developed over time. Work hard when nobody's watching so that when everybody's watching it looks easy. Maybe that's the deal. Suspended is the proper word. Eric Swalwell has suspended his campaign for governor after shocking claims of sexual harassment by multiple women. I'm sorry, sexual assault by multiple women. Swalwell's post on X said, "I am suspending my campaign for governor. To my family, staff, friends, and supporters, I am deeply sorry for mistakes in judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious, false allegations that have been made, but that's my fight, not a campaign's." I don't actually think that he is referencing his relationship with a known Chinese spy, Fang Fang, as it were. This has to do with just general slimeballiness. Democrats and Republicans seem to celebrate the news that he was suspending his campaign, but for very different reasons. The Republican candidate for governor in California, his name's Hilton. He said, of course, Eric Swalwell had to drop out of the California governor race. The question is, why was he ever in it, knowing he had all this going? It just shows you the disgusting arrogance of these career politicians. They have total contempt for the voters, assuming they can do whatever they want and get away with it. The Swalwell stink is on the entire corrupt Democrat machine in California. Democrat Katie Porter, who is a disaster in her own right, is running for the office. A Bay Area newspaper calling for Democrats to back Porter said Democrats can pull victory from the jaws of defeat by coalescing around Katie Porter. California Democratic Party Chair Rusty Hicks said that Swalwell, quote, has finally done the right thing by ending his campaign for governor. Swalwell's reprehensible actions confirmed he is unqualified and unfit to seek or hold public office in California. I hope he is held accountable for his actions, and the courageous victims and survivors who have come forward receive the justice they deserved. Now, there is a concerning thing that exists. When you make posts or you say things publicly and those posts are held on the internet, they never really go away, sometimes those things come back to bite you. Along the lines of, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Here's what he said to Donald Trump in 2022. Eric Swalwell in his own words.
This new take that we've seen from Elise Stefanik and Donald Trump and even Scott Perry in his statement today, how could they possibly have searched a member of Congress's phone, or how could they have gone to a former president's home, or if they could do this to a former president, they could do this to anyone. They're kind of missing the point that they should do this to anyone if they have broken the law and there's probable cause. You're not above the law. You're not an elite. You're not untouchable.
You're not above the law. You're not an elite. You're not untouchable. And then there was the old post where Eric Swalwell was 100% in agreement with we should always believe the victims. We should always believe these women when they claim sexual harassment, sexual assault. That was a big, big talking point of the Me Too era that we lived through just a few years ago. And Eric Swalwell was right there helping lead the charge on Me Too. And look, there were some positive things that came from the Me Too movement. There were women in particular who found their voice when fear had kept them from being able to voice their concerns and to speak out against men and sometimes women in power. But if you were going to stand in unison and be one of the people that says always believe the victims, I have a little trouble when you come out and you go, these allegations are false. I did nothing wrong. Yeah, but you told us we were supposed to always believe the victims. Swalwell also says that the timing of this is politically motivated. And you know what? He's right. He's right. It is politically motivated. But I'm not sure that it's politically motivated by the right. The amplification of the message about Eric Swalwell seems to be coming from the left. Did you see how quickly Nancy Pelosi distanced herself? Did you see how quickly California Democrats said, oh, it's a good thing, get this guy out of the governor's race? Why would they say that? Could it be because there is a crowded field in the state of California for the race for governor? And the system in California allows the two highest vote getters to go to a runoff? And there was a very legitimate possibility that support for Democrats was splintered to the point that you would have had no Democrats in the runoff, that it could have been two Republicans, and therefore getting a candidate out of the race for governor in California, Swalwell, makes it more likely that they guarantee that at least one Democrat is in the runoff for the governor's race? Is that possible? See, even when you're a Democrat, fellow Democrats are your friend right up until the point they're not. Right up until the point that it is politically expedient for them not to support you anymore. And Swalwell's a guy that it's easy not to support, because he's a scumbag. And DC insiders have known this for a long time. And yet, it's only now that so many people are coming forward with, oh yeah, this guy was drunk in bars hitting on women all the time. If you're curious as to whether or not Swalwell is married, the answer is yes. Married with 3 children. Being the slimiest in Congress is hard. And yet Eric Swalwell is making it look easy. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. JT Mitchell, our news director with the SuperTalk Mississippi news team, will join us coming up next. Glad to be with you. MRC presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community. We're back with you right after this.
To know what's being said in the halls of the Capitol? You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross continues on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome back. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. Did you know that Double Decker Arts Festival is now less than 2 weeks away? It is coming up April 24th and 25th. You can find out all of the information online at doubledeckerfestival.com. This year marks the 29th year of Double Decker. Music starts on Friday at 6 p.m. with Penelope Road, The War and Treaty, and headliner Shane Smith and the Saints. Saturday is full of activity, starting with the double-decker spring run. The festival opens at 10 a.m. Shuttle service begins at 9 a.m., and then you've got a full day of music on that Saturday. Annie and the Caldwells, the Anameros, Mountain Grass Unit, the Heavy Heavy, the Dip, Margot Price, and then closing it out on Saturday night, Wilco. That is at 8:30 on Saturday night. All the information is available on Visit Oxford's website, visitoxfordms.com. That's visitoxfordms.com, the 29th Double Decker Arts Festival in Oxford. JT Mitchell joins us right now. He is news director with the SuperTalk Mississippi news team. Good morning, my friend.
Hey, Richard, and Wilco is a really good band. You got to stay up for that one.
Yeah. You should make the trip.
Jesus, etc., great song. California Stars, another really good song. So, 8:30 p.m., that's about bedtime, but I'd stay up.
There you go.
You don't know Richard. He's not going to bed at 8, I can assure you, because I get a syllabus at about 11 every night.
And I don't know how he wakes up, but Richard, props to you.
Sleep optional.
Sleep optional.
Or fleeting. Maybe sleep fleeting would be the better way to describe it.
Do you ever stockpile? Like you get a weekend and just go hard?
There aren't many weekends without stuff going on, too. But yes, occasionally I will try to catch a couple of extra hours.
Hibernation period?
Yeah.
When there's not many sports, I guess after baseball ends, you may get a little gap. You can hibernate for a little while.
Yeah, things are a little slower in the summer. A little. So that's nice.
A few months away, though.
JT, what have we got on the docket this morning, either from the weekend that pops out for you or that you are looking ahead to this week?
Yeah, let's just keep it on a happy note just for a moment. It feels like festival season struck over the weekend. It was a gorgeous weekend. You opened this segment talking about Double Decker returning in 2 weekends. This past weekend, lots going on. I was at Nature Fest at the Science Museum, and then I went over to Lemuria's 50th birthday party. That was great. Speaking of staying up, I know Bobby Rush is a friend of this program, but I could not make it until his performance. Mr. Rush did not go on until 9 p.m. Eddie Cotton didn't go on until 10 p.m., so we missed it, but we did catch some of the good live music there. Happy birthday, Lemuria. But that really felt like there's always a time in the year where you're like, it's warm, it's green outside, it's festivals galore. And that's the truth of it. You got Double Decker coming up. Also, the same weekend as Double Decker is the world's largest wiener dog race as part of the Starkville Derby on April 25th. May 8th, Pepsi Pops in Ridgeland. So if you're out there listening, just go ahead and write it down. Mark down your calendars for all of this stuff. So May 8th, Pepsi Pops in Ridgeland. That's big for the Symphony fans. I know Richard's a Symphony fan. June 13th and 14th.
I do like the Symphony.
Yeah, please get him to sing. You don't get to hear this in breaks. No, you would love to.
After you, Richard.
Carry on, please.
Okay. June 13th and 14th. Now, this is an event my wife has said we will already be at. That is the 6th annual Pickle Fest. The Mitchell household will be getting pickle dogs here in Jackson at the Pickle Fest.
Pickle dogs?
Pickle dog. You ever had a pickle dog?
I'm assuming we're just talking about whole pickles?
No. So I think the pickle dog may have originated at the Iowa State Fair. Now, what it is it's a hot dog wrapped in a dill pickle and then fried up like a corn dog. And it's massive.
So do you have to, slice open the dill pickle and hollow it out?
I guess. I don't make them. But yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Go to supertalk.fm right now. First article, there is a picture of a pickle dog in there. And you know, the Pickle Fest, Richard, promises to be a big deal.
I'm sure.
Did you get it? Little punny? Little puns?
Yeah, yes.
On this beautiful Monday morning. And then you got car shows coming up.
So they batter it, too.
Yeah, it's battered up.
It's like a corn dog, but the dog is inside a pickle.
I would not want to be on that duty, having to
I
holler
feel
out the pickle.
really good at the time, but really bad after.
Yeah.
I also watched the pickle eating contest last year. I thought I might puke for the people competing. I mean, they were going hard in the paint. Eating like 17, 18 whole dill pickles in, 7 minutes or whatever it is.
A whole ring of Tums.
I like pickles, right? I like dill pickles. I like sweet and sour pickles, bread and butter pickles. I do, but I feel like pickles should be consumed in moderation. Like most things in life. In moderation tends to be the right way to go about it.
Yeah, you can get a gnarly stomach ache if you eat too many pickles, but there is money on the line. And when there's money, there might be a little more motive, a little more motivation.
I suppose.
So lots of events, and then, of course, we'll have plenty of car shows. Mississippi may be the sneakiest, best state for car shows. I mean, you have the Tupelo Blue Suede Cruise. That's going to happen April 30th through May 2nd. Lots of classic cars and maybe some people dressed up like Elvis. And then a little bit down the line in October, you've got the Renaissance Eurofest and then Cruising the Coast. Both award-winning car shows. Some people say Cruising is the best car show in the entire U.S.
If not the world.
If not the world, that's right. So, somebody corrected me and said, it's a cucumber JT. Yes, it is, but then you pickle it. So, we'll get with the Mississippi Ag and Forestry Museum and tell them to promptly rename it to the Cucumber Fest.
Hey, and don't forget the Neshoba County Fair has moved to the month of June this year.
Yes.
Less sweat, huh?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Theoretically, although we get some hot days in June. Generally not as hot, though, as at the end of July. JT, we got the news over the weekend of this shooting in Belzona. 5 people injured, 1 dead. Do we have any more details?
No, I followed up to see if the Humphreys County Sheriff's Department had an updated release for us this morning. Nothing. And so all we know is what you know. That is, 1 person was killed. At least 5 others were injured during the shooting late Saturday night on Silver City Road in Belzona. And I've gotten no word of any arrest. So that's 6 people at least, because officers used the term at least, that were struck by gunfire. The deceased was identified as Michaela Adams of Greenville. Once again, as of this morning, no arrest. Humphreys County Sheriff's Department needs you to try to make an arrest. They're asking all tips to be dialed in at 662-247-2551.
A Maryland kidnapping suspect was arrested in Mississippi, right?
2 Maryland kidnapping suspects
were
arrested all the way down here in Columbia. This was kind of a crazy story, and we got some details from the Columbia Police Department. We are waiting for more because I have some questions. But Columbia PD was just doing their routine patrol on Saturday. They pulled over a car for speeding. They identified the driver as Celso Galvez Morales. When they did a records check, they found that Mr. Morales was wanted out of Maryland for kidnapping. They promptly arrest Mr. Morales. There was also a 4-month-old child in his vehicle, but I don't think that child was connected to the kidnapping. So the investigation continues. They turn over that child to the Mississippi Department of Child Protective Services. They find out that Mr. Morales' girlfriend is also in the area. So on Sunday, they go arrest her. And we got another update later on Sunday that the Forest County Sheriff's Office, which is right next door to Columbia, said that they found the juvenile connected to the kidnapping and he or she is safe. So now, at least we know that 2 children, one of which was connected to the kidnapping, is safe. That 4-month-old child that was found in the initial traffic stop is safe. Morales and Martinez are awaiting extradition back to Maryland.
Will there then also be extradition to another country, or do we believe that they are American citizens?
I did think about that, but have not gotten confirmation one way or the other.
Okay. There is a chance that lawmakers are going to be headed back to Jackson this week. Is that going to happen? We'll ask JT that question coming up next. We're glad to be with you. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank. Quick timeout, and then we'll wrap things up on this Monday edition of MRC. Today is April 13th, 2026. We're back with you right after this.
Get the inside track on Mississippi politics. Yeah! Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Good to be with you on this Monday morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Joined by JT Mitchell, as we are every Monday morning. He's the news director with the SuperTalk Mississippi news team. We were told when the legislative session came to an end that there was a good chance legislators would be returning on or around April 15th. Do you believe that that is going to happen?
That's the million-dollar question. At this time, yes. Now, it could be hinged on today, Richard. Today is the final deadline for the remaining, I think it's 135 bills left to go through the governor's desk. Now, those can be signed into law, vetoed, partial vetoed, or allow it to become law without a signature. So maybe it hinges on today, because that's pretty much what I'm hearing, Richard, and I haven't heard one way or another from the Speaker's office or the Lieutenant Governor's office whether they've decided yet to go back on Wednesday. But what I have heard is that if they do go back, it would be some ancillary work, and maybe, just maybe, they'll override some vetoes.
And I guess we're just waiting to see, right? There are a bunch of bills that are on the governor's desk that are awaiting signature, and today is the deadline on almost, and in fact, I think all of the bills that are on his desk have a deadline of today for signature. No signature, but the time expires, which just means they pass, or an actual veto. Or, I guess, potentially, in some cases, a line item veto, which is what we saw last week with the governor.
Yes, that's correct. Now, I wonder if they do return on Wednesday, if they'll take up some of the line item vetoes maybe with the opioid money. We saw that 3 organizations or nonprofits, Hope Squad being one of them, got line itemed.
What did you make of that? It was about $1.5 million worth of money that was allocated by the legislature through the opioid settlement fund. But the governor said that those 3 entities did not go through the same vetting process that the others did that received money, and they were more than welcome to come back and apply and go through the full process a year from now.
Yeah, and that seems to be what the governor saw on his end. I caught up with Ricky Matthews, obviously a talk show host with this company, but he also wrote a column on this situation at supertalk.fm. And he said that Hope Squad submitted its application and got confirmation that the application was received. So according to him, it seems like it's a glitch in the system where their application did not show up properly. Now, Hope Squad, if you don't know what Hope Squad is, they've come on many of the programs under this company's umbrella. And what they are is they train students to be resources to other students where the worst doesn't happen. And the worst, what I mean by that is turning to a pill bottle, turning to an alcohol bottle, or worse, taking your own life. And Hope Squad is led by a woman named Emma who did try to do what I just said. She survived it, and she has now dedicated her life to training students to help other students, because sometimes students just want to listen to the people their age before they listen to somebody our age. That's what Hope Squad does. Now, the governor, it's completely fair if it showed up on his end and said that their application was not submitted or it wasn't submitted properly. It is completely fair of him to veto that.
I talked about this earlier in the hour, but I am curious your thoughts on the announcement from Thursday, an additional $12 billion from AWS, really enhancing that data center project in Madison County and also branching out a bit.
I mean, $25 billion is a huge number from one company. That's huge. And obviously, Gerard was out there for his show. Caleb was out there covering it from the news perspective. I had heard rumblings that Amazon was going to do more. I did not know the announcement was going to be this big, this soon.
Yeah.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, the data centers in Madison County, one's right there off West County Line Road, and the other is kind of out near Gluckstadt. Those are not constructed yet, right?
No, progress ongoing on those, right? So they are under construction, but not complete at this point. It's funny you say you had heard rumblings. I had as well, going back to the initial announcement, there were some people that were very involved in the process that said, hey, this is just the beginning. It's all they're going to announce right now, but assuming this goes the way we think it's going to go, there's going to be a lot more of this, because once they get a footprint, it becomes really easy to expand as going out instead of going out and finding a new location.
And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Now here's the question I will leave everybody with. Does Amazon finish the data centers, or does the ABC warehouse get done first?
Oh, Amazon data centers.
That's where my money is.
At least the initial. Thanks, JT. Always good to be with you on a Monday.
Thanks, Lance. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Be sure to check out supertalk.fm for all the breaking news from the SuperTalk news team. Lance, thank you, sir. We thank you for being with us as well. Have a great Monday.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.